Yo, hey, so this video today is to help you understand this Leo full moon that's happening. It's here to help you understand what's going on emotionally, relationally, and of course, personally. We'll talk about the Leo moon, the Aquarius energy and the stellium that's there, as well as this new Aries energy that we're stepping into. So if you've been feeling an urge or a pull to be more honest and reflective with yourself without necessarily forcing things, then this video is for you. So with that being said, we have a Leo full moon, as I mentioned. There's so much to unpack with this particular moon. We've gone from a very strong Capricorn energy over the past few weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. And I dropped my crystal. Some lapis today. So, as I was saying, we've gone from this heavy Capricorn energy into a very strong Aquarian energy. And of course, we'll get into this. But what I wanted to mention really quick is that this is a really strong moment for particular signs, particular placements in the zodiac chart. Anytime that we have the stellium, right? The stellium is basically where 3 or more planets are in one particular sign. And right now we have, I think, 5, if I remember correctly. And those planets all sitting there are impacting individuals with your first house, if you have Aquarius as your first house, or your moon, or of course your sun sign. These are going to impact you a little bit heavier because this energy is so amplified. In addition to that, those of you who have Aquarian north nodes, this is going to be something really strong for you because we have all of these planets in Aquarius, right? And a north node is the soul's path. The north node signifies what that particular soul is here to strive towards. And Aquarian energy, as you know, is just very much about individualization, taking a step back, seeing the bigger picture. And opposing Aquarius is Leo, right? So they're direct opposites in the charts. And when we have a Leo full moon like this, it's going to emphasize the need to be validated, the need to be seen, right? So if you have an Aquarian north node, that means you have a Leo south node. And Leo south nodes typically fall into this particular energy of see me, see me, see me. So if you are feeling this pull of detachment, but also desiring validation, this is a really normal energy with this particular moon and the placements of the planets right now. So a few things that I've been asking myself before we jump into the moon is, how am I showing up, right? Without the performance of showing up for others, without the programming of people pleasing and martyrdom and self-sacrifice and oversharing and overextending oneself, right? That very Leo, that unhealed Leo energy of I'll do anything in order to be seen. I'll give whatever I have to in order to be validated. That energy can be really, really destructive to a person if they're searching for external validation, because at the end of the day, it's our job to validate ourselves. It's our job to contain our own energy and not search for it outside of ourselves. Because we all have our own soul frequency, right? That north node energy is what I was mentioning. And that soul frequency can be distorted if we're falling into these old patterns, right? The south node is past energy. It's what we fall into naturally. So with Leo there naturally, if you have a south node, there is a natural tendency to fall into a desire to be seen, to be heard, to be understood, to be validated, to be recognized, to be praised, right? All those things that Leo desires. But if we exclusively live our life in that energy, it's not going to lead to fulfillment. It's going to lead to despair, because we are placing our worth on the opinions and actions of others. We are placing our worth based upon the actions and intentions, as well as energy given from others, right? If we do something for someone and they don't validate us, does that crush the spirit? Or does it say, I'll try harder, I'll give more, I'll explain more, right? So this energy can be really toxic, right? Who wants to be around the center of attention all the time? Who wants to have somebody say, oh, I'm the best every time you see them? You know, it's about Aquarian energy stepping into it, right? It is about learning how to detach from being validated from those around us. It is about learning how to validate ourselves and to say, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks, because I know that I'm good enough. I know that I'm whole. I know that I'm worthy. I know that I am loved because I love myself. I validate myself. I'm on my path and I'm doing the things that are good for me, despite what others think, right? And with that Leo energy, it can lead to wearing a mask. Let me put this mask on for this person. Let me put this mask on for work. Let me put this mask on for this dynamic and this friends group and parents and siblings and family and society, right? So when we put on those masks, we are limiting ourselves. We are not giving ourselves the opportunity to shine from our soul, because we are trying to get the approval of others. And maybe you resonate with this. I'm just on a tangent here. But myself, I am a Leo MC. I'm also an Aquarian North Node. So the reason I'm speaking on this is because I'm human and this moon affects me big time. And that's why I want to speak about it, because there's others that have the same placements as me, that are going through the same energies as me, and the same revelations and the same understandings, right? So I guess the question that I'll start with is, what makes you feel sovereign? How can you show up sovereign in your own life? Meaning, you're not relying on anyone, you're not basing your value on anything or anyone or anything that anyone says. You're giving yourself grace, you're understanding that you are human, and you give yourself permission to be human. And with Leo, you know, I've been asking myself, am I showing up in a way that is searching for external validation? And how can I show up to be more visible, even when fear shows up? And I can tell you, I've been putting this video off for 3 days because, as I said, I'm human, right? And the last video I uploaded, it didn't do as good as the last couple, and it's deflating, and it can be deflating. Like, all this work, all this time, all this energy for what? But that is searching for external validation, right? Oh, views will make me a better person. Views will make me more successful. Views will make me more complete in myself. It's a joke. It's the views, it's the ego, it's the idea of the views make me better. The views give me permission to say I'm enough. But it's all BS. It's all a lie. It's all a story I'm telling myself to prevent myself from doing what I'm doing now. Sitting in front of a camera, talking to no one, in hopes that my message reaches those that need to hear it. It's wild. And like I said, I've been putting it off because of my fear of, one, being rejected, right? And the fear of not being seen. And then, of course, the fear of being seen. It's such a paradox. And, you know, if you're with me in that, just know that it's okay to exist in all of those different levels at the same time. There's so much present in what I just said as far as what I can become aware of within myself, right? Where's the fear coming from of why I'm not jumping on camera? Where's the fear of being seen and not being seen, right? Are these an old program that I'm existing in? Are these just something that I'm telling myself so that I don't have to be seen? Because let's be real. When we look at the fears of humans, More people are scared of standing in front of an audience and talking than they are scared of no longer being alive. We would rather cease to exist than speak to a group of our peers, often for the fear of judgment. Because if we go back to our caveman days, if we got ousted, if the village kicked us out, we probably didn't survive. So there's such fear, ancient fear within us all, myself included, right? That we do things to conform. We do things to fall into line where we, there's a saying in Japan, the tallest nail gets hammered first. So don't stand up too tall, stay level with everyone else. But what does that get? It gets a bunch of people following the person in front of them. And if that person in front of them walks off a cliff, then we all jump off the cliff. Just because we're following the person in front of us, we're asleep and we're not trying to stand out and we're not trying to ruffle anyone's feathers. But what if that's the goal? What if the goal is to stand out? What if the goal is to change the way that we do things, the way that we show up in our lives, in the world, in society, as humans across the globe? What if we showed up differently? What if the energy present right now is giving us an opportunity to see things differently, to see things for what they actually are, no matter how gross, no matter how dirty the truth is, and witness the truth for what it is and accept it and say, we can do better. As a society, as a collective, as people, as individuals, we can all do better. We can be kinder to the people around us. We can have more compassion for that homeless person on the corner who may at one point may have had everything that anybody could have ever wanted, and then all of a sudden life happened and now they're homeless. But if we allow the ego to be in charge, that homeless person on the side of the street is scum. But at the end of the day, they're a human, and it could happen to any of us at any time. And we would want compassion from the people in their cars. We would want compassion from the people walking by to say, look at that human. They are struggling. Let me have a heart. Let me love them the way that I would want to be loved, right? We learned this in first grade, the golden rule. Treat others how you want to be treated. When did we forget this as a society? When did we forget this about ourselves even? How do we treat yourselves? One of my favorite questions, would you have any friends if you talked to them the way you talk to yourself? I think I already know the answer because I've asked this question to many, and most people kind of scoff and say, no, I'm so hard on myself. I'm so mean to myself. I'm so hateful. I talk so lowly. I talk so much crap. We're so hard on ourselves. For what? For why? What good does it do to be hard on yourself other than to put guilt and shame in the path? So that if you complete it, it's not enough. And if you don't complete it, you're a POS. Who wins in that situation? Why not be kind to yourself? Why not be kind to those around you? Why not have compassion and empathy and show up differently? Because the way that we're doing things now, it's not working. Look around. Turn the news on for 5 minutes. Talk to someone from the opposing party for 5 minutes. And tell me if the way that we're showing up for each other, for anything in our world right now, if it's working, if it's truly working. If you have kids, if you have grandkids, think of their grandkids. And what is the world that we are leaving them? Who are our leaders that we're putting in charge for these kids who have zero say? What type of world are we allowing to be created? What type of society are we allowing to be created? I know I'm not talking about the moon here. I know I'm not talking about what the video says, but this is important. We all have responsibility to do something. And we can all do better. We can all grow. We can all love more. We can all be more trusting. We can all be more compassionate. We can all be more forgiving. We can all let go of our resentments. We can all step through our fears. We can all stand up in our own power. We can all cultivate our own energy. We can all be contained and self-sufficient in our own selves. And we can love ourselves and we can love one another deeply. As much as you love that child of yours, you can love your neighbor that much. As much as you love your partner, as much as you love your job, as much as you love yourself, we can love one another. Because at the end of the day, we are human. We're not red versus yellow, black versus white, yellow versus pink, red versus whatever color the skin is, doesn't mean anything. Wherever we come from, whatever country we come from, we're all the same at the end of the day. We are all humans and we are all here for the same reason: to grow our souls, to become stronger, to learn, to experience what it is to be human. Who knows how long any of us are here, but why not make it joyful? Why sit in frustration? Why sit in fear? Why sit in anxiety? Why put all this pressure on yourself? For what? Because at the end of all of this, Alex Hermosi said it best. He said, at the end of our lives, no matter how many chips we have on the table, every single one of us pushes it to the middle. None of us leave here with anything that we have right now. If you look around where you are, none of it goes with you. But what does, and no one is going to remember how many followers you had, or how many things you made, or how much stuff you had in your house, or your pictures, or any. What people are going to remember is how you made them feel. How you made them feel. If you made somebody feel unseen, neglected, unheard, forgotten, that's your legacy. So why not leave a legacy of love? Why not leave a legacy of compassion, of patience, of understanding, of groundedness, of self-containment? Why not be the inspiration for those around you who are freaking out and who are scared and who are unsure? And you can be the inspiration when you walk by, and you can pique others' curiosity, and they can say, why does that person feel so stable? Why does that person feel so good to be around? Why does that person feel so safe? What's different about them? You can be different, and it's okay. Aquarius energy is about being different. It's about new. One last thing before I talk about the moon here. There's a book I recently read. It's called The Mastery of Self. It's by the son, if you've ever read The Four Agreements. It's by his son, Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. And in The Mastery of Self, he talks about something called a contrary warrior. And all of the old traditions in the Toltec tradition, where Don Miguel is from, in his tradition, they have people that are called contrary warriors. And what they do is when someone says hello, they say goodbye. Because we as humans, our subconscious, our brain runs on patterns. And if we get so stuck into a pattern of saying, hey, how you doing? Good. Are you really good? Or is that just the pattern that we've accustomed ourselves to? If somebody asked you, hey, how you doing? And you started speaking about how you actually are, is that person going to show up for you? Or are they also in their pattern of, how you doing today? I'm good. Okay, see ya. How robotic, right? So the contrary warriors are there to break up that pattern, to put a halt in the pattern and say, whoa, no, we say hello. But when somebody goes contrary to the pattern, it wakes us up to it. So be a contrary warrior. Wake up people to the patterns that they might be unconscious to. Is it comfortable? No. Because it's contrary to the beliefs. But it is essential for us to break the patterns that currently exist, to wake ourselves and others up to what is actually happening and what is actually possible. So I know this in itself can be a video on its own. And I don't even know how long. We're at 21 minutes already. So this is going to be a longer video. But I want you to know that everything that's happening right now is meant to happen exactly how it's meant to. Whatever you're feeling is right. Whatever you're not feeling is right. Trust the intuitive hunches right now. Trust the mental landscape. There's so much energy in the mind. Aquarius energy is the mind. It's an air sign, so it's up here in the head. Trust what comes through right now, because it's giving you information for what is possible, or what is bigger than what you're currently existing in, and what might be different than what you're currently doing, because we're stepping into a threshold of change. So before this goes any longer, let's go ahead and talk about this full moon. When the full moon rises in Leo, it consistently brings attention back to the heart. This is an energy that asks you to notice who you're becoming and where you may be ready to stop hiding parts of yourself. Leo's actually not about performance. It's about presence. It rules courage, creativity, and self-respect. And under this moon, what has been held in wants to be gently expressed. And full moons, they reveal. They're bright in the sky. They illuminate in the shadows. And this one is revealing where you're ready to stand in your truth, and where you might still be adjusting to feel safe, accepted, or approved of. And if you're in that energy, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just information. And as I've mentioned, this moon doesn't stand alone in the sky. There's a stellium in Aquarius that's gathering awareness around truth, integrity, and the future we as a collective are shaping together. Aquarian energy brings perspective. It cools emotional reactivity and invites clarity. And with the sun in Aquarius, the invitation is to zoom out. Your individuality matters most when it's honest and aligned. And being seen now is not about attention. It's about integrity. Mercury is also in Aquarius, and this is supporting clear thinking, as well as direct communication. This is a time to speak simply, without defending or over-explaining, because truth is present, and truth doesn't need justification. Venus is also in Aquarius, and Venus is reshaping relationships. Connections that honor freedom, authenticity, and mutual respect grow stronger. Relationships that require shrinking of self-abandonment, or anything like this may begin to just feel heavier. And with Venus, if you are in a relationship, notice what feels spacious within it. and notice what feels restrictive. This can also be with the relationship of self. Where are you restricting yourself? Where are you allowing space within self? Mars is also in Aquarius, and it's shifting how we take action. Motivation right now is coming less from emotion and more from principle. You may feel called to act in ways that align with fairness, boundaries, and long-term vision, rather than that immediate, willful validation. And opposing all of this, there's the Leo moon, right? The focal point of what this is about. And it's gently asking you, can you stay connected to your heart while holding higher awareness of the bigger picture? Adding another layer here, Saturn and Neptune are moving into Aries. This is marking the beginning of new initiations. Saturn is bringing responsibility and maturity. Neptune is bringing vision and meeting. Together, they ask for grounded courage, dreams that are lived and not escaped into. So this isn't necessarily about rushing or taking impulsive action. It's ultimately about choosing what is actually real and deciding to build from there. Not in performance, not in trying to prove anything to anyone or yourself or anything of that nature, but it's asking you to stand in your truth without apology. Owning what is real for you. Owning what you've always known to be true, but maybe you've silenced it. Maybe you've not said it out of fear. Maybe there's something that needs to be said and you've left it in silence because it might lead to someone feeling something. And I want to remind you, it is not your job to prevent people from having their own emotions. In reality, when we try and save other people from their own emotions, we are often preventing them from learning a lesson that they need to learn, individually as their own human. When we try and save someone from their own dilemma, we prevent their own growth, or we prolong that growth. So Leo is teaching sovereignty, and that sovereignty is actually self-respect, that you don't have to include yourself in other people's problems, that you don't have to save people from their own dilemma. With Leo teaching that sovereignty, Aquarius is teaching that truth serves something larger than self, right? By honoring that truth to tell someone, hey, what you're doing is wrong. What you're doing is affecting so many other people. By expressing truth, even though it might be difficult to hear, you are allowing that truth to do its job, to teach the lesson, to offer insight, to give perspective, to maybe wake someone up from the dream that they've been living in. And with these two energies combined, they remind you that you can shine. You can be as big and as bright and as exciting and as loud and all the things. You can be as big as you want. And you can still belong. You can still be accepted. You can still be loved. You can still be witnessed and cherished and honored. And you know, Leo full moons, they happen more than just now. So this is a repeating reset point. So anytime Leo full moons come up, this energy is active. And the energy is a reminder. Lead from the heart. Lead from clarity. Lead from honesty. Lead from responsibility. Leo is a fire sign. Fire can do a few things. Fire can warm, it can roast, it can bake, it can do all these beautiful, loving things. But fire can also destroy. Fire can smolder. Fire can burn. So that fire within you, how is it showing up in your life and those around you? Are you warming the people and things around you, or are you burning and setting fire to those things? Are you destroying, or are you cultivating? You ultimately have a choice in how you want to show up with your energy. Before we close this video, this energy is potent, and I want to offer a few reflections, maybe a few questions. Where am I ready to show up fully without needing permission? Where am I ready to show up fully without needing permission? Down below, I will place a little bit of a practice on how to work with this energy. Maybe you don't get an answer from the question right now. I'll place this practice down there in hopes that maybe by doing something simple, it gives you some insight, gives you an idea. But as we close this out, I want to remind you, you don't need to convince anyone of your worth. You, right now, in this moment, your presence is already valid. You're already whole. You're already enough. You don't need to do more. You don't need to be more. You don't need to share more. You don't need to validate anymore. You don't need to over-explain. You don't need to overextend. The love that you offer others, the energy that you give others so freely, so without a second thought. Somebody calls you up and needs an ear, you're there. Even if that's there, even if you're on the phone for hours. I know that you're the type of person that shows up for others. I know that you have a big heart. And I know that you do more than most. And with that, I'm sure you've been hurt. I'm sure your heart may have been bruised once or twice. But I want to remind you, don't stop loving. Don't stop giving. Don't stop shining your light. Your light is so needed right now. You are needed right now. You always have been. Your life has been preparing you for this moment. Your life has been preparing you to take the step that is here right now, in this moment. You can say, I'll start tomorrow. Guess what? That's a repetition of a pattern. Start now. Start today. Start immediately after this video. In fact, close this video out and go do it. Stop waiting. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for someone to tell you to do it. And if you need that, I'm telling you now, do it. Stop questioning yourself and trust your intuitive hunches. Trust the guidance that you can't see or make sense of, but it's there. The vision in your mind, the things that you dream of, the goals that you have, every single one of those things is possible. And no one else may believe you. No one else may understand you because it's not theirs. It's yours. It's in your head. It's your vision. It's your dream. It was given to you. So chase it. Chase the joy. Chase the excitement. Chase the happiness. Chase the possibility. Because what if goes both ways? What if it doesn't work out? What if it did? What if it all worked out better than you could ever imagine? It may not happen tomorrow, but what if it did happen? At some point, when you least expect it and you're just doing your thing and suddenly it starts to unfold and the life that you dreamed of begins to become reality. Leo heals through self-validation. Leo heals through self-love. Leo heals through honest expression with an anchor of self-respect. Use this moon to let go of the things that keep you from being honest, that keep you from being real and authentic. Let go of those things. Give yourself permission to let go. Give yourself permission to say, no more. Time for something new. Time for something bigger. Time for something better. Because you deserve to live the life that you dream of. You deserve to have the friends that you dream of. You deserve to have the family that you dream of. You can have it all. I love you. And if you've listened this far, I'm grateful for you. I know this is a longer video than normal. This is not the average moon, so it required a little bit of extra communication. I truly hope that this moon gives you everything that you need. I hope that you remember to charge your crystals. And just give yourself permission to exist as you are. Because as you are right now, you are enough. I appreciate you being here. I'll see you next time. Peace.
I stand in my truth. I honor my heart. I do not shrink my light.